Hey, this is Jason Richardson. Do you know where your bass player is?
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Friday. I hope you're going to have an amazing weekend. And as you can see, we're doing a throwback episode to how this channel originally started, and that was shooting on anamorphic lenses. And we're going to have a little bit more information on that as the episode progresses. Anyway, as for right now, let's get to it.
Hey Glenn, huge fan of your channel. I've learned a crazy amount from it, especially regarding respect to sound engineers and general band etiquette, I guess you could call it. My question is, what's your opinion on working with what you've got? Should a person wait until they have certain standard of gear or just dive in and make the best with what they have? I'm personally trying to make do option with my own channel, as I'm generally not in a position to afford upgrades. I do my best to put out what content I can, but at times the limitations are immensely frustrating. P.S. Greetings from South Africa.
I thought that originally was going to be about studio. Seriously, dude, if you're going for it, fucking go for it. Do the best you can with what you have. Yeah, I mean, like, I've seen bands say, oh, we're going to wait till we get this, we're going to wait till we get that, and then sit around and do absolutely nothing and wait for years and put their careers on hold because they're waiting for something that might not ever happen. If you have the means to record a band or do a YouTube show or anything like that, even if it's not the best gear out there, by all means, absolutely go for it, because you can only get better as you progress. But if you sit around waiting for something to happen, there's a very good chance that nothing at all will happen. So yeah, you're definitely doing it the right way. Good for you, man, and best of luck. Hopefully it goes very well for you.
Glenn, is it true that you can't say cunt in Canada? Also, what's your opinion on using keyboards in metal/punk/decent music? Would you say that they're shitty and song-destroying as fake drums and MIDI samples are, or do you feel that they kind of have a place in those kinds of music? My main instrument is keyboard, and I find modern metal music to be very generic. When I try to write with other musicians, they tell me to stick to guitar and that keyboards have no place in metal. Then they stick on their shitty EDM drum beats from FL Studio, and it seems somewhat hypocritical. I'm just curious as to what your opinion on this matter is.
Now, see, I've never really had a problem with keyboards and metal. I mean, like, everything, with moderation. I mean, keyboards and metal are great as long as you're not trying to do Judas Priest Turbo Part 2, you know what I mean? It's like Priest already had an established brand and an established sound, and then they did that radical, attempt at pop metal, and it really didn't work out so well for them. They sold a lot of records, but it didn't quite have the breakthrough that they wanted, and it really alienated a lot of their core fans. If you're in a band that nobody has heard of yet, yeah, go for it, integrate keyboards. I mean, like, my very good friend Alex Nasla plays keyboards in Witherfall, and he's having a blast with it. And they do some pretty interesting music. This brings me to Finn McGinty's channel, and that's called Punk Rock MBA, and he did a piece on, the whole early 90s alt metal scene and what killed it and whatnot. And I remember, being in college during those days, and it was very exciting because all these new innovative bands were coming out that were intermixing styles. We had like funk metal and goth metal and doom metal and death metal and all this crazy stuff happening all over the spectrum. And these days, that's not happening anymore, and I think that's a real shame. So yeah, if you want to put a semi-not common instrument into your band, yes, go for it! Because too many bands are just too busy trying to sound like everybody else. So please, for the love of Crom, yes, do your own thing and don't be afraid to innovate.
My studio is down the street from Kenneth Copeland's personal recording studio, and I'm literally competing for musicians against him. Please help me take down this madman.
So for those of you across the world who really don't know who Kenneth Copeland is, he is a very popular, I think, televangelist, I could be wrong there, who has a massive church and flies around the country on a private jet because he can't fly with normal people because they're possessed by demons. Of course, everybody read about that in the scientific journal Nature, and it's been peer-reviewed and verified. So good for Kenneth Copeland buying that private jet and flying around the country. Yeah, we can't have our precious preachers getting possessed by demons now, can we? So what I'd suggest, maybe put up some signs, demons, homosexuals, and satanic temple members welcome here, that way the vast majority of the rest of the country that doesn't buy into his bullshit knows they're going to be welcome somewhere. Yeah, you maybe put up a sign, we invite all demons, I don't know, but something along to that effect. Just basically take the most batshit insane stuff that Kenneth Copeland has said and put a big sign up and says, we welcome that. You know what, that's definitely going to get some attention, and I guarantee a lot of the metal bands in town are going to want to record with you. Good luck, dude.
I agree with you, and I fucking hate you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Maybe lighten up a little. And now it's time for it.
The butthurt of the week. Yes, they're absolute SJW pieces of garbage for pulling that shit. However, you should have put aside your ego for the greater good of the fundraiser and stepped away. You are also equally as responsible for the loss of potential money for the animals. Get off your fucking soapbox and stop being a whiny bitch.
Well, hey there, Bodhi Llama. I do appreciate the creative input. Funny you mentioned that because when I was talking with Henning when he was planning this event, he mentioned that, yes, Reverb was pulling out of the event because they found out I was going to be there. The first thing I said to Henning was, if you want, I will stay home. And he was the one who insisted, you know what, Reverb's making the call. Reverb's making that choice. Let them deal with the fallout. You're coming, fuck them. And just for the record, calling somebody a quote-unquote SJW piece of shit really isn't in my whole modus operandi. It's really not what I'm about or what I do. People are allowed to have different political opinions, and we don't have to be at each other's throats because of it. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of that stuff, and I don't necessarily agree with stuff on the other side either. But you know what? When we stop calling each other names, maybe we can discuss something and move forward. That being said, bass players are worthless pieces of garbage.
Childish and Pathetic.
Oh, you're referencing my SMG Cock Block, the world's greatest noise gate. Yes, it's still on sale. It's available now. You can follow the links in the description below and you can pre-order yours. We have already sold out well over a third of all available units. So if you're kind of sitting on the fence about getting an SMG Cock Blocker, you better get on that now because they are going really fast. They're going way faster than I ever anticipated. So I just want to give a great big shout out to the community and everybody who supported this thing and got one for yourselves. There's only going to be so many available, and once it's gone for good. And right now we have about 10 weeks left on the sale. So if you want to get yours, get it soon because I think we might actually sell out before the pre-order is done, the way it's going anyway. Once again, thank you so much for your support. Links in the description below. Get on the pre-order today.
The fact that Glenn talks so much shit about drum samples, yet he is okay with this shit, proves he's a hypocrite. What a douche.
Okay, Sybil, let me kind of explain this to you. You're referencing the punk bass demo I did a couple weeks ago, and I'm sure a bunch of you guys go, hey man, what the fuck? Well, here's the problem. These days, we don't get records with drums that haven't been fucked with in one way or another. They've either been sample replaced, sample augmented, time aligned. Basically, we don't get to hear the drummers anymore. I don't think that's going to be quite such an issue with a virtual bass player. I mean, like, we still hear a lot of fucking bass players on records these days, and that's absolutely fine. I want to check out more virtual instruments because I think it's kind of neat. I don't know if it has any place outside of a demo stage, if it should be going on real records or not. But as a songwriting tool, I think those are great. Hell, if you're running Easy Drummer at home as a songwriting tool, you know what? More power to you. I just want to hear fully fleshed out records with real fucking drummers. And the problem I have with today's production is I think the art of recording drums is starting to be lost. I mean, like, how many engineers do you know that have the skills to actually mic up a kit and make it sound great without adding in some artificial bullshit? Seriously, that is my whole perception of the situation. If synth bass winds up overrunning real bass players, well then of course I'm going to start to rant and rave against that as well. And honestly, in a few situations, a few records I've made, I really wish they had brought in a synth bass that had been pre-programmed because I wouldn't have had to sit here for days on end waiting for the bass player to fuck up his way through his tracks. But I really don't think that's going to be a big danger of changing anytime soon.
What do you do in your studio when a drummer can really play and wants to have his Neil Peart kit in there? Do you have the mics/room?
Yes, actually I do. There's a local guy named Jeff LaLasher. I've recorded his kit in here several times. It was like handmade. He had like, I don't know, 8 toms and, you know, just an immense kit. And yeah, we pulled it off. We managed to mic all the toms individually, get everything set up. And those sessions, honestly, I really enjoy because usually the guys who bring in those kind of kits really know how to fucking play. And tracking them is just an absolute breeze. This guy, Jeff, can really fucking bring it in the studio too. So I'm more than happy to put in the time to mic up that amazing kit and get some amazing sounds. Down at Harmony in LA, we've got even more space and the drum room sounds incredible. And if you haven't checked it out, please check out my cover of Like a Fujin. I just put that out last Sunday, and you can really hear the sound of the drum room on that mix. It turned out really nice. Unfortunately, not too many people watched it, which I thought was kind of a drag, but you want to hear some killer drums that aren't fucked with, yeah, check that mix out. But as for the LA studio, yes, we've got more than enough capability to record a massive kit, throw up a bunch of mics around the drum room, and we've even got a couple of ISO booths so we can have other band members playing at the same time as well. It's a really cool setup.
Furiously osculate yourself, Glenn. But on the real side, do you have any experience using the Royer 121 with metal? I have the chance to use one on a session soon, but not sure if I want to even make the effort to set it up to not use it versus my typical pair of 57s.
Well, I did that video a couple weeks ago for the Axe mount where you could pair a 57 with the 121, and I thought it sounded pretty cool, actually. So, you know what? If you're already working with a pair of 57s, throw a Royer up on a different speaker, get it closer to the center because it's a very dark mic, and try blending it and see what happens. You just might like the results. The trick is try stuff. Cool stuff happens when you do that.
Hey Glenn, can you please do a video comparison of the Fractal Audio Axe Effects and a Line 6 Helix rack head for both guitar and bass? It would be very much appreciated to get an in-depth comparison between both heads.
I think that's a fantastic idea. I'm going to put that on my to-do list. And yeah, I think I can do that at the LA studio. I think we've got enough resources to pull that one off. So yes, you can look for that coming up on Fearless Gear Reviews very soon. Thanks so much for the suggestion.
Just about gave up running Pro Tools and their plugin bundles after about 10 years. What DAW would you recommend crossing over to that is comparable? Grace, channel, and thanks.
Honestly, I'd probably recommend Cubase 10. It's fucking fantastic. I've got a few mixed tutorials where I did some drums a couple months back, and I'm just super impressed with the integrated EQs and compressors. It just makes it really easy to mix. Routing stuff is super easy. Yeah, it's definitely worth taking a look at. I haven't switched over to it full time yet because I still haven't learned the editing system, but I can imagine at some point I'm probably going to switch from Reaper to Cubase just because of the fucking integration, and it just makes it that much easier to mix.
1 gigabit per second up and down? Fuck man, in Australia, the National Broadband Network, government-owned fiber to the node system built from 2009 and still not finished, gets a max 100 megabits per second, with most households getting well under half that. Billions of dollars spent by the federal government on this shitty third-rate infrastructure, which will be obsolete as soon as the 5G rollout begins.
Yeah, I've definitely heard some nightmare stories about what's going on with Australia and their internet. And we're gonna have to do the most Canadian thing ever here is, dude, I am so sorry that you have to deal with that shit. I was talking with my friend Erms, who did the punk bass plugin and whatnot, and we were talking about the horrible internet in Australia. And all I can say is, hey, maybe it's time to start electing people who are gonna get shit done when it comes to that.
Hey Glenn, I watched your tips on performing live series a few weeks ago, and then my band entered the Battle of the Bands last weekend, and we killed it. And it was our second gig.
Lloyd, thanks so much for writing. I'm so glad you found that video useful. I'm so glad it translated to your live performance. Here's the thing, I'm not just sitting here blowing smoke up my ass. All of this, what I'm talking about, is based around 20 to 25 years experience making records, performing live, all that shit. It's not just a theory. This is all based on practical, real-world experience. Ignore at your own risk.
It's not just the recordals that gig you for copyright infractions. I used to have a reaction channel where I would react to unsigned talent that could use the exposure more than the rock stars. I got zapped by CD Baby 6 times one day, and you screwed banned my channel. That truly pathetic thing about it, the one song that CD Baby claimed a copyright on, I fucking wrote it! Fuck these pathetic fucks!
Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard about CD Baby claiming songs that people actually own. Actually, I've heard that happen far more often than not. And unfortunately, if you went with CD Baby years ago, you're still gonna have to deal with that fallout. I don't know if they've upgraded their system. All I know is I ran into a big problem there a couple of years ago where CD Baby claimed a song that I had permission to use, and they said, oh, you can just do this online, and it was nothing of the sort. It was an absolute nightmare to navigate their site. I don't know if that's still in play or not, if they've changed anything, but from my experience, all I can say is I can't recommend CD Baby because they will cause you fucking trouble, especially if you're planning on releasing your music not only on CD, but on YouTube as well. They will take your money and you will never fucking see it. That's my experience anyway. Now, if the situation has changed, if somebody wants to reach out to me and contact me and say, hey, we've made it so much easier for musicians, I'll be more than willing to follow up this story. But right now, avoid CD Baby like the fucking plague.
Feeling insecure to pass on his knowledge to an intern. This guy sounds like an asshole.
And Coco Blizzard sounds like an illiterate. Anyway, funny about that, I was actually quoting somebody else on that episode of Stupid Musician Text. That actually wasn't my Stupid Musician Text. That being said, I'm going to be heading back to Los Angeles near the end of October, and I might actually be looking for an intern to help out around in the LA studio. So if you're in the LA area, you want to get some experience recording and producing a YouTube show, and you don't mind working horrible hours for terrible pay, hey, leave a comment below, or better yet, contact me over private message. Maybe we can sit down, have a coffee, see what you want to get out of it, and see what maybe I can offer. Anyway, that's just about it for this episode. Before we go, I'd mentioned the whole CinemaScope thing. When we first started doing the show years ago, how to get your band ready for the studio, how to hold a microphone, all that, I was in a big anamorphic junkie phase. I had shot a couple music videos in anamorphic. I really dig the look. The whole super wide CinemaScope thing is fucking awesome because it looks like movies, and you get the cool out of focus stretched bokeh look. Like these lights back here on the monitors are actually stretched a little bit vertically, as instead of perfect circles, that kind of thing. And it's just a whole look of movies. A lot of great science fiction movies like Blade Runner have used anamorphic. Same with Apocalypse. Now, hell, even the first Rambo movie was shot in anamorphic. Lawrence of Arabia, that kind of stuff. If you want epic, yeah, I definitely recommend going with anamorphic. And besides, you get these super cool horizontal lens flares, the blue lens flares that J.J. Abrams completely abuses. This is definitely the way to do it. Now, a real cinema anamorphic lens is going to cost you anywhere from $15,000 to $100,000 probably. This I have adapted from an old Kawa projector onto a taking lens, and the only problem is you have to dual focus. But fortunately, because my camera is sitting in one spot, I can just leave it set and get this look. It still takes a whole lot of setup and refinement to get it going. So that's why I don't shoot too much anamorphic anymore. I think the last video I ever did in anamorphic was actually the cure for vertical video, and that was probably 4 years ago. But somebody had mentioned a while ago that they really missed the look of my first few videos, so I thought I'd bring it back. So I'm going to put a poll up in the corner here. I think it's this corner here or that corner. I'm going to ask you guys, do you guys like the anamorphic look? Do you want to see more episodes of SMG viewers' comments in this cool 2X Super CinemaScope look? Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please keep those comments and questions coming. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. And once again, just a reminder, if you want to get the SMG Cock Blocker Gate, the pre-order is on now, but they're selling a lot faster than anticipated, so I don't know how much longer these things will be available for, so please order yours today. Thanks again. Have a wonderful weekend, and as always, Hasadigi boy.